My name is Ryan Portino. I'm a video editor. I'm also the youth director at my church, and I also have this small YouTube channel. At the time of recording this video, I primarily just upload short videos. The goal with these short videos is to talk about the Bible and to talk about Jesus and to teach people. My goal is to teach young people about the Bible and to talk about Jesus. I absolutely did not want to start a YouTube channel. I never wanted to do this, to be honest. As mentioned, I've been a youth director for a couple years now. It'll be 5 years. It hasn't been that much time, but it's been a reasonable amount of time where I can look back and see what my wins are and what my losses are. And one of the wins is just being able to help the youth group grow at my church, growing up to being adults. One of the biggest failures that I would say, I was not at all the best at what I was supposed to do. I was brought on as the youth director, maybe 23 years old. I would say it's really young, way too young, honestly, way too young. I was still struggling with a lot. Honestly, there was a lot of sin still involved, and I want to come clean with that. Not just that, but I think my focus eventually grew to be in the wrong place. It wasn't in the right place anymore. And years later, at that point, I was already like 26 years old. It came to a point where I was either going to decide to stay as the youth director or just leave. At this point in my life, I recognized that I did really want to help out my church. I did want to help out my youth group. I wanted to see them grow, and I saw a desperate need for a true revival. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but I knew there was such a need for these kids to really see the goodness of God and to see the truth. At that point, we were just doing like small groups. I can't say we really discipled our kids that well. I was at a crossroads where I was trying to decide whether I should stay or I should leave, and I realized we hadn't done the job. I hadn't done the job. The church had hired me to be a youth director. I was commissioned to be essentially the youth pastor of these kids, and obviously you can argue that youth pastor doesn't do much, but I recognized, like, dude, like, this isn't right. I want to do a better job. And that sort of became sort of like the second chapter of my like youth director sort of career. I recognized how much my youth group, but also just youth groups in general, really need discipling. Ultimately, across the board, how much the church needs discipling. And I'm not claiming that I'm perfect at all, but I see there's a need. There's a need for a true revival in the church and true discipling in the church. A lot of youth groups nowadays just kind of focus on playing games or making sure we have a good time, making sure we have fun with our youth group. And I'm not saying youth group shouldn't be fun. These are teenagers, for crying out loud. And I don't think we should suppress that. I think we should leverage that as much as possible. I can't paint with such a broad brush, but ultimately what I see a lot is we fail to really disciple young people to really grow in their faith. And I started to analyze what I had done and kind of just sharing messages that, they kind of just get you by or kind of like motivate you. It sounds cliche. I noticed that there was just feel good messages. That's not really going to help the youth group grow. It's not going to help the church grow. And I never wanted to be a content creator, but I recognize as a Christian, and I know there's a lot of Christians around me that can relate. Maybe the world doesn't need more content creators, but we do need the truth. We need people to hear the truth. We need people to be discipled. We need to be discipled. And I don't want to be the guy on the internet that has some crazy thing to say. That's not at all what I want to do. I don't want this YouTube channel thing to be in vain. I don't know how many more videos I will make, but I will say I want to be true to the gospel. I want to be true to the word of God. I'm not here to just make fancy videos. I want to make them as good as possible, but I just want to share the truth. I want to share the goodness of God. I want to make sure that people are being discipled and people are understanding what the Bible has to say. God isn't calling us to just call ourselves Christians and not do anything about it. I'm not saying that we save ourselves. This is basically what my content is about if you've watched my content. So although I don't want to be a content creator, I want to be someone who carries the truth, and I want to address certain things. I want to address big problems that we face in the church. I'm not happy with certain things, and I don't want to be someone who's just complaining, but I do recognize the state of where we're at. The church needs discipling. The church needs people to do God's work. That's what the Bible is calling us to do. And obviously that means loving people. It means loving our neighbor. I don't believe it's just about, I don't think God is calling us to just sit around. Anyway, it's kind of just a rant at this point. Thank you for watching. I really am very grateful, and please stick around for the ride and let me know in the comments if there's maybe some things you agree with me on when it comes to youth group and just kind of just this feel good message trend in the church. And yeah, thank you again.